17. How do you feel about someone? Which one of you mentioned this? Truth, justice, and the American way. And I squinted
because
they changed that, didn't they? Now, my personal opinion on it is the American way. Although I'm not an American, I understand it as to be a positive thing, something to strive for. So yes, if he's going after the American way, that is a positive, great thing. But to change it to truth, justice, and better tomorrow makes me go, why trigger those who will be upset by this? Why not introduce a new saying? He's got up and away, or no, that's from Spider-Man, but he's got look up, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. He has his sayings where he's faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, can leap taller buildings in single bound. He's got his quotes. You can just add a new one that has, better tomorrow in it. You don't got to rechange everything to make it, PC. That's malarkey. True justice in the American way.
I don't think this is a new PC saying. I think this phrase I think it's more universal for everybody.
It is, but why take away the American way? Why not just make a universal saying?
Because the American way doesn't apply to every country. You have some people in the Middle East who despise America.
But the American way is not what you despise. The American way is an inclusive message. Theoretically, of course, there's going to be people who practice American way with their Confederate flags. I get that, but the American way by
but look at the truth, justice, and even a better tomorrow is all you, because everyone for the majority hopes for a better tomorrow. Like we hope for the next day to be better than our last. Truth, that's pretty much universal. All of them are universal. I don't know that American way is because it's just throwing the American way in there. And people are already going to hate it. The only people that's going to like it is people that grew up in America. Like, oh yeah, the American way. Yeah, that's it. That fits for only them. But I get what you mean. It is a PC kind of thing. But I think a better tomorrow is something far more relatable than the American way, because we all hope for a better tomorrow. Everyone on this panel hopes for a better tomorrow.
Now, when was the American way made? Was it when DC was making comic books that went worldwide, or was it probably in the 30s when it was first invented?
It was 30s for military propaganda and stuff.
Yeah, probably that. Okay, by mentioning it's the military propaganda, you kind of make me feel bad.
Political. I say political propaganda, even though militarism and politics fall in the same political propaganda.
Knowledge. The American way was added in the radio show and dropped years ago. Clark is a writer. It's just realistic. He would do rewrites. Okay, if it was dropped years ago, that's fine. As long as we're not, you can drop it. You can stop saying it, but we know and remember it. You did not need to remove the American way, because then what it does is it triggers folks, people like me too. Because I understand what it's doing, but it triggers people into realizing, oh no, they lost the American way. What is wrong with America? This company has gone to where they hate Americans, and it fuels a backlash you don't even want, which you could have completely avoided. You could have just started saying, you already dropped it years ago, right? You could have just started saying a new world global kind of saying and invented that.
See, I'm not even looking at it that way. Because to me, the better tomorrow is Disney. It's the Disneyland, the world of tomorrow. It's literally the better tomorrow is simply a tagline from Disney's The World of Tomorrow exhibit. So it's literally going truth, justice, and the better tomorrow is just the Disneyfication of it. It's a Disneyized, and not only that, it's like that's the best you can come up with. You want to change it, that's fine, but truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, what were the ones you rejected? If that's the one you picked, I hate to see the ones that you thought sucked.
What a way to put it. It's not even that creative.
It's not even that good.
And I agree. It's simple. But I want to see what those other ones are, too. I know they have more on the draft.
Yeah, I'll take one of them other ones, too.
You know what they should have done? They should have had 50, they should have had 5 or 10, and either have the audience vote on it or say, hey, give us your suggestions. Because apparently these guys are so creative. This is the best they can come up with.
Yeah, let the fans decide. I think that would have been
fans decide.
and no one can argue that the fans chose it. If you're a fan of Superman and you all agreed that you should do this, then hey.
Cool. But do you agree with me here where when you're letting the fans decide, you don't say, should it be truth, justice, and blank? No, don't indicate to the fans that this is replacing the American way. Just say, what's Superman's new saying?
Yeah. Okay. And if they want to do truth, justice, and whatever, then let them do it.
Dude, fucking PC culture is ruining everything. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it's not that the PC culture is ruining everything. It's the fact that nobody was going, shut up and stop doing it. Okay? It was the fact that they were unopposed. That's the problem.
Is the American way a better tomorrow? Yes. Therefore, I'm just saying, it's not that bad of a deal.
You might as well just say choose justice and the Canadian way, because that way we would have actually had, universal health care, but we don't.
Hey, high five, Jaded. Oh, number 18. You're back, right? Let me hear you.
Dude. Okay, let's go back to number 17 for a second. Okay. 17? You guys do know that Superman renounced the American way back in Action Comics number 900, right? This is like a no-brainer. This is for all the people that have neckbeards and decide that they're going to be outraged about things. This has been for quite a while now. This isn't new news. This is old news. I guess DC just decided, hey, we're going to come up with something in place of the American way. And not for nothing, the way America's been for the past 4 years, 5 years or whatever, I mean, I wouldn't want to spread that around either, because when you have things where you're arguing about a piece of fabric over your mouth 24/7, that's just ridiculous. That's just completely and totally ridiculous. And Superman is better than that, so he shouldn't be arguing.
But how often has Superman been saying choose justice and the American way?
True, that is true. Anyway? That is true. That is.
Like if he's never saying it, what's the point of changing it?
But
like I remember, because it used to be in the comics, you would have you'd have Superman and you'd have that emblem with the eagle, and it would actually have truth, justice, and the American way around it. Well, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, I can't think of any circumstance perhaps that he's actually said that. I could be wrong, but I don't. And I'm trying to think. But this is just another talking point that people can be outraged about. And these are people that probably haven't even read a Superman comic in like God knows how long, and then they can come up with like 32 outrage videos for YouTube and their angry tweets and tracking all the usual suspects. And it's asinine. It's just completely and totally asinine. Because to be honest with you, when they did it in Action Comics 900, I was kind of a little upset about it. I was like, well, and then I read it and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess it kind of does make sense a little bit, because not everybody has the quote unquote American experience, so there isn't an American way. I mean, the people that seem to be bitching about this country the most are the ones that prosper from it the most, and it's weird that they do that when I guess it's because they can't see how there are some people who aren't prospering the way they are. So when they have problems with it, they're just like, well, why do you have problems with it? I'm making money or whatever. I'm prospering. Why aren't you prospering? And there has to be something wrong with them as opposed to America. And sometimes it just doesn't work for everybody, but it's who cares? It's not like it even says it on the book. This is just nothing. This is nothing for people to get enraged about. And I wonder if DC did this intentionally to get publicity, because I mean,
hey, that feels like that's their strategy lately.
Yeah.
Kind of like killing off Superman.
That's what I'm referring to. Like the Superman Son of Kal-El comic book hasn't even come out yet, or not. Poor choice of words, come out yet. But like we're in issue 4 of that, correct?
Yeah.
Mike
number 4 just came out this week.
Right. And that's not the issue where the kiss happens. Like we already seen the artwork for the kiss, but it hasn't even happened yet. But it's to pump up sales, to create. They don't do this for what Tom Taylor said in an interview when he was on CNN. He was like, man, such positivity. I can't believe how many people reached out to me and said they see themselves. And then the interview guy was like, yeah, but what about the other side? And Tom was like, yes, you're right. There's been some backlash. Tom, respect to Tom for like looking at it at a positive light and using his platform in that way. But the reason why they did this was for the outrage videos and for the Fox News type people and shit.
Well,
To me,
I agree and I
ahead.
disagree with that. I don't think the people that are outraged about this, I really don't think they spend any money or time in a comic book store buying comic books, consuming the content. They just they do a Google search, they see, what's on Yahoo, what's trending, whatever, and oh great, this is something I can act outraged about because when I was a kid I watched a Superman movie once. Like it's they're disingenuous. This is
We'll
what
see the sales. Well, I'm going to be analyzing comichron.com to see what the sales did, because comics gators use that same thing where they say the people who buy comic books aren't interested in America Chavez, and that's why the books don't sell, or they're not interested in, whenever someone gets swapped. They say that same thing, that they don't buy the books, the people they're trying to impress.
like
so why does DC and Marvel cater to them? What, Jaded?
I said, you mean like Ray Ray?
Like Riri Williams?
Riri Williams.
Well,
see,
the
now
problem,
he's got to defend that. Now he's got to defend it.
No, the problem with that, when Marvel did that initiative, what they were doing was they were killing off the legacy characters. Like Tony Stark at that point was in a coma. Steve, if I remember correctly, was Hydra or something. There was Riri. There was who else?
There was a lot of them.
In?
Hulk Amadeus Cho was one. All new Wolverine because the real Logan was in a adamantium
case. Adamantium, yes. And Hulk was shot in the head with a adamantium arrow by Hawkeye or whatever. So yeah,
Jane Foster was Thor at the time.
Well, but that one was storyline dictated because of what happened in Original Sin, which was actually kind of good. But they were getting rid of the legacy characters, and that's where people took exception. Like, dude, you want to introduce new characters that could perhaps, take up the mantle or, whatever, be characters, and they're like, that's fine, but don't get rid of the legacy characters, and that's what they were doing, and that's where people were pushing back. So if you don't do that, like if you do it, I don't want to say, because it seems like the people that bitch and moan that don't read comics or whatever and bitch and moan about this shit, they say, oh, well, they got to do it the right way. They have to do this like, oh, we don't mind bisexual characters, but you just have to do it the right way. Well,
I can see through it. I understand. I watch the people who do that and I see their channels and I understand what their motivations are. So they're not fooling me when I hear that, Mike.
But see, unfortunately, you're definitely in the minority regarding that, because it just starts echoing and amplifying, and people are just bitching and moaning about something they have like, you ask them details and they can't answer them. They just parrot back the same, outrage points or whatever that they, and it gets to be annoying. And I understand, again, you want publicity, you want people talking about your shit. You don't want to just throw something out there and hear crickets, but it gets to be a little too much after a while. And like this thing with John, okay, yes, he is technically Superman because Superman is flying off to Warworld and all that. So he is going to be the quote unquote Superman for, Earth. But they made it seem as if it was Superman, like Clark Kent that was bisexual. And that is partly disingenuous too, because, and again, it goes into people not reading or not even clicking on the headline, just seeing Superman comes out as bi. And then they just go off of that. They don't even bother reading the article. And this is what happens a lot in this country and in the world too, on the internet, definitely. But it's
totally intentional. But it's sort of like the question, which is, how do you feel about DC changing it to from a better tomorrow out of American Way? It's the headline reads Superman is now a bisexual, but that's not like he's Superboy. It's John Kent.
Right, exactly. I mean, who got screwed to begin with when Bendis came over and aged him? That was
we don't talk bad about Bendis over here.
Dude, then I'm on the wrong channel. I better get off because he is terrible.
Are you at work right now?
Yeah, I am.
So if you got to pop out, just pop out. No hard feelings.
Okay, yeah, but I heard this triggered because it's been like this since literally it's been like this for about 130 issues where he renounced his American citizenship. He didn't just renounce American Way. He said, he said he was a citizen of the planet, which is true. So.
I need to read that comic, issue 900, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
if
you gotta look, we gotta. Oh, go ahead, Jay. I'll say mine's after you.
So I was saying, they wanted to establish, because Superman's going, why am I not helping Saudi Arabia? Why am I not helping France? Why am I not helping other countries? Why am I confined? So that's why he renounced his American citizenship.
Well, France cares a lot about things that you put over your face. It's just when it has nothing to do with Islam. That
I know the weirdest thing for me about him coming out gay or bi was like, Superman has a son. So I didn't even care about the upcoming issues. I wanted to know who the hell John Kent was.
We didn't even know John Kent was, huh?
I didn't even know John Kent because I knew that there was that little kid, but then I'm going, who's this young adult? So like, and now I had to find out, who it was. So all those people who are outraged about the fact that John Kent was bi, I'm going, do you even know who John Kent is?
Yeah, a lot of them didn't even know who he was. I know who he was.
A lot of them didn't even know who John Kent was.
In a world with Supergirl and Nightwing, it's just unrealistic to depict people as not being bisexual. It was 10 Marvel characters over a period of 15 years. Oh, you're talking about the swaps? Yeah, like Sam Wilson being Captain America. I think Peter Parker got away for Dr. Octopus for like a year.
Oh, yeah. Superior Spider-Man.
I can't tell you. That came out December 26th, the day after Christmas in 2013. And I can't tell you how many customers came in. They were like, fuck Marvel. I'm done with this. Dan Slott sucks. I'm never reading another Spider-Man book again. And I'm like, look, Dan Slott came in and he saved Spider-Man. Like, Joe Quesada was literally pissing all over the legacy of this character, and he was allowed to do it, and it was ridiculous. Dan Slott came in, rescued Spider-Man, saved him. So I'm like, you know what? Kind of like, remember when George Bush was giving that press conference, and somebody asked him, like, well, how do you feel the rest of the world is going to view you guys invading Afghanistan or whatever? And he's like, well, I'd like to think I've built up some political capital. So I'm like, so as far as I'm concerned, Dan Slott has capital with me, and I'm going to see where he's going to take it. And then 4 months later, those very same people that came in here bitching and saying, fuck Marvel, and I'm not reading another Spider-Man, they're like, do you have Superior Spider-Man number 1, 2, and 3? And I'm like, but wait a minute, you were here the day after Christmas saying you were never reading another Spider-Man book again. They're like, yeah, but I heard it was good. And I'm like, well, see, that's what happens when you start prejudging things, like, and it was good.
Hey, there was a comic book along the same time that Dan Slott was doing Spider-Man. There was the Ultimate Spider-Man, and you know who's writing that one? Brian Michael Bendis.
The one. This is the only thing I will ever.
No, it's okay. We're done with you. We're going to Jada now. He said something about Dan Slott.
Dan Slott fucked over the
See, I was going to give Bendis a compliment.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
No, go. Yeah,
no. That moment is past. Fuck Bendis. Go ahead, fanboy. What were you saying?